Med spas usually fall on one of two extremes when it comes to selling. On one side, you have this med spa that will sell anything to anyone. Doesn't matter if you had filler 10 times this year. If you want it again, we're going to give it to you. Doesn't matter if your lips are tiny and they can barely hold any filler. If you ask for two syringes, we're going to give it to you. It doesn't matter about the migration. Whatever they want, we'll give it to them. And we're going to upsell even more so we can make as much money as possible. On the other extreme, you have the med spa that is too scared to sell anything. Even if they think it's going to benefit their patient to get something more, they're not even going to mention it because they didn't request it, so I'm not going to ask them. They're scared to sell. And in this video, I want to talk about the difference between persuasion and manipulation. The med spa that tries to sell anything to anyone, even when it's not a good fit, they're manipulating a lot. But this med spa that doesn't sell anything, they're not persuading enough. So I'm going to talk about the difference of these two and why I want to do more persuading and obviously less manipulation. But if you manipulate, you don't need to be told to not do that. All right, so I want to talk about why you should get good at persuading your leads so that they book an appointment with you, and also your patients so that they come back and they buy more stuff in each appointment. And so a lot of people know that it's important to get new customers in the door and sell them, but they don't sell their existing patients to come back and buy more times. And I'll tell you this, it's a lot easier to get someone who's already giving you money to give you money again than to get a complete stranger to give you money. So that's definitely important. In the last 4 months, we've booked 1,061 appointments for our clients for their med spas. These are all prepaid, not consultations, so everyone is giving us money. And so I feel pretty confident in saying that we're quite good at persuading their leads. The main thing I'm going to talk about is the difference between persuasion and manipulation, because this is actually the reason I think that a lot of people don't feel so good. They feel kind of icky when they sell, and I think it's because they think they're trying to get someone to do something that's not good for them or being pushy to give someone something they don't need. So the way I define these two terms is that persuasion is getting someone to do something that is good for them, and manipulation is getting someone to do something that is bad for them. And usually that thing that's bad for them will be good for you. I'm not going to talk about intentions here because if if someone that doesn't like you accidentally did something that was good for you, and if your friend accidentally hurt you, then it's like, is that persuasion or manipulation? Like, it's neither. It's just like, it's completely subjective at that point. So I'm just going to talk about what actually happened, not what someone meant to happen or what their desire was. All right. So in scenario one, let's say you had a patient and they booked in with you for a half syringe of filler, right? If you offer that, or they requested that. And during their assessment, when you're assessing their lips, you notice that this person has lips that could hold a lot more filler than just half. And if you just gave them 0.5, you don't think that they'd be satisfied. Let's say after a week or whenever the swelling goes down, you think it's going to go back to basically looking like they had nothing done. So do you, one, just give them what they ask for and don't ask any questions or try to influence them? Or do you persuade them and get them to get more filler, spend more money, but doing that is going to help them achieve their goal and be much more satisfied instead of just coming back a month later and getting a touch up? This is a pretty simple example because there's only two options, and most people understand like the difference between these two. I'm going to give an example after that is a bit more complex than this. So you can see that what people say they want isn't always what they need, right? And this is where your persuasion can help them. Because if someone thinks they need half syringe, but you tell them, well, you'd actually get your goal with one, that's where your persuasion can benefit them. But this is also the scenario in which you have the power to manipulate people. So it's a double-edged sword, because if someone doesn't actually know what they need, they only know what they want, or at least what they think they want, then you can also manipulate them into getting something that isn't good for them, right? So, for example, here's another scenario. Let's say a patient comes in to see you and they've been overfilled from other med spas, right? Maybe they have like too much cheek filler and it's all migrated and all this stuff is messed up. And they show you a picture and they say, this is what I want to look like. All these other med spas, they messed me up. She doesn't say they messed me up, but they just couldn't give me the look I wanted. It's just not big enough or whatever. Um, and you see the inspiration photo that she shows you, and you know that she can never achieve it based on her genetics. It's just not gonna happen. But she's really adamant on you treating her, and she says she saw your work, she loves it so much, and these other med spas just couldn't help me. I really like your work, and I know you can do it. Can you please help me? So what would you do here? The first thing you could do is you could say that whatever my patients want, I'm gonna give it to them, whatever they request. You don't even consider if it's something that would be a good fit for them or if it can be achieved. You're just gonna try to give your patient whatever they want, not really thinking too much or of if it's good or bad, or if it can be achieved. Or maybe you don't even have the skill to know if it can be achieved before you try it. Before you try it, that's the first bucket of person. The second one is it could be someone who says, "I'm only going to give my patients whatever they need and not what they want." So even if that means turning down money, if someone's messed up and they're overfilled and I can't do anything to help them, I'm just going to say no. And if I lose the customer, it's fine with me. That's the second person. And then the third person is someone who acknowledges that their goal isn't achievable. So it's not like the first person. They actually think, can they get this or not? They know the goal isn't achievable, but they also know that if I turn this person away, I can tell she really wants it, and she's going to go to another med spa no matter what I say. And so if she's going to pay someone, it might as well be me that gets paid. That's the third person. And so this is where it gets pretty interesting, because in this first scenario, where you say you're going to give them whatever they want, and you don't acknowledge if it's good or bad or if it can be achieved, you didn't really have any intention of helping or hurting them. You don't even think about if it can be achieved. And so are you hurting them by just giving it to them? I don't know. And in the second scenario, where you say that you're only going to give them what they want, not need, here you actually, this is an interesting thing, which is that you can actually persuade someone to not give you money, because this provider, she's turning down money, which is actually going to make the patient angry most times, because she's just going to say, okay, I'll just go to another med spa that's going to do it. But that's actually the better thing for them. So this is an example of being kind, not nice, which is like saying, no, we're not going to accept your money. And you kind of sell them on why they shouldn't do it. So it's like hurting you, but it's helping them. So you can persuade someone to do something that's good for them and bad for you. That's what the second scenario would be. And then the third one is where you acknowledge that they can't get their goal, but since you're going to go to a med spa anyway, you might as well get paid, because you know this person is hard headed and they're trying to spend the money. Is it persuasion here? Is it manipulation? If you tell them that you can help them, most likely it's going to be manipulation, right? If you truly believe that the services that you sell, they make people's lives better, if you think they're increasing people's confidence, they're getting rid of their insecurities and all those good things, when you think that you can help somebody, I think you should feel obligated to get good at persuading if you think it's going to help them, so that you can maximize their goals. And since you're going to be also good at manipulating, once you're good at persuading, it's going to be your obligation to avoid manipulating people for instant gratification, like a quick paycheck, even though you know you're going to mess this person's face up for quite a while. And if you want to get better at persuading your leads so they can book appointments with you for your med spa, then watch the video I made on how to do exactly that. It's a step-by-step framework that takes you through everything that you should do on the call, or if it's a message, it works the same way. And this is exactly what we use to get our clients thousands of appointments every few months. So check it out.